Welcome to our little farm in the forest, nestled in the trees of North Idaho. This is where we grow our food, raise our animals, and try to live closer to nature. We're a little higher in elevation than the town nearest to us, so our snow sticks longer and our garden takes a little longer to get started. Technically, we're in zone 6A, but because we're in like a microclimate here, it's more like 5B. Our garden is surrounded by pine trees and Douglas fir. Welcome to our first garden tour of 2025. We have sunflowers planted all along the inside front fence. They're just a few inches tall right now. They're the mammoth variety, so they're going to be very tall, and I can't wait to see them grow. We have two Dave Austin flaming roses that someday I hope will line our front entry gate to our garden. These are Cinderella pumpkin plants. And all along this side fence, we've put in tomato plants. The three Granny Smith apple trees that Norman planted just a month or so ago are doing great. Please bear with me while I learn how to video with this iPad. My iPhone didn't bounce around as much as this thing does. It's so crazy that these three Chelon cherry trees that Norman planted just a couple years ago have gotten so big already, and they have little cherries on them already. We're really excited. If you see black tubs turned upside down like that one or that right there, that's because we have voles and Norman set up some traps for them. In this bed, we're growing snow peas and radish, which are actually we need to harvest today. In this bed, we're growing freckled lettuce, kale, radish that's gone to seed already, and some lavender. I usually have tons of marigolds all throughout these raised beds because they've helped me keep the bugs away. The marigolds that I started from seed aren't ready yet to transfer. These next two beds are packed with garlic. Letting chamomile, the volunteer chamomile, come up. I'm not going to pull that out. On this raised bed, we have some green cabbage all along the edges there with chamomile. Those are volunteer chamomile in the middle. And I forget what those three are. And then on this side, we have rosemary and some red cabbage. On this last raised bed, we have some broccoli, spinach, and in the middle there's some basil, and then on this side it's just onions and rosemary on both corners here. So here's a bunch of sweet peppers on this side. On the other side there's a lot of hot peppers, and mixed in there is sweet peas and cantaloupe and all kinds of stuff. And all inside here is where I was keeping all of my seeds that I started. I multi-sowed here and then I separate them out, and these are all in process of growing. These are sweet peas. This is cantaloupe, beans, um, backup cantaloupe, all the tomatoes that I'm growing. I think these are pumpkins here, volunteer lettuce. I have backups of my backups for my cantaloupe right there. These are some very slow growing peppers that are taking forever. And here are some beans. Here's some more multi-sowed peppers. A bunch of basil, different types of basil. Those are my hot peppers over there, jalapenos. I have some cherry tomatoes growing on both sides. There we have some voles that Norman set trap for. Oh, and this is my nasturtiums. I think these are the Baby Boo pumpkins. They're little white pumpkins that are growing on this side of the arch. And on the other side, that's huckleberry potatoes. And those potatoes are crowding some Baby Boo pumpkins on this other side too. Because my pepper starts aren't ready, I had to go to Home Depot and get a bunch of peppers because I gotta grow peppers. We have to grow peppers. I'm just gonna have to start them way earlier, like in January maybe. This is my overflow area. I'm giving these away to neighbors and friends. These are some flowers, calendula and some other ones that I need to find a place for. Over here are some zinnias and mammoth sunflowers that I need to transfer. And over here there's some strawberries I had to dig up because they were overcrowded. And there's some spearmint and other mint. And these are my honeyberry plants right here. Does anybody else do this? These are my mystery plants. Mystery tomatoes, mystery weeds. A lot of things I'm growing this year I've never grown before, so I'm not sure what the seedling looks like, so I saved a lot of those. This is our berry patch. We have raspberries, well, red raspberries, fall gold raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, marionberries, boysenberries, and down behind all this at the very end we have elderberries, and I think it's going to be a really good berry year for us this year. Over here on the north raised beds, we have very overgrown strawberries going on over here, and then over there there's some asparagus, and over here on the right that's our haskap or honeyberries again. I added some onion down the middle of this asparagus bed. This bed is full of potatoes, and this is more strawberries and more onions. If you walk through the berry patch to the very back, we have some currants and elderberries. If you can see that in the jungle here of stuff. Here's some more potatoes we planted. We had some space beside these blueberries. These bolted, and we're going to pull those up and see what they look like. Yeah, this big one. That's crazy. Thank you guys for joining us on our first garden tour of 2025.